first selection of the day at number 53 overall, the Cowboys have selected quarterback from Georgia, Quincy Carter.
Quincy Carter was a quarterback out of Georgia that had a very great comeback against Drew Brees and had a very up and down career in Georgia. But ultimately, after his junior season with the Georgia, he went to declare for the NFL draft and was obviously drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. He had a very mixed first season, but ultimately had a 3-5 record with 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Definitely not what you want to see out of your rookie quarterback, but you got to mind he was a second round draft pick and that the Cowboys knew that he was a quarterback that they had to work on. In his second season, had similar to his first season, but showed a little bit more progress. Only yet again played only 7 games, had a 3-4 record, had 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He still threw a lot of interceptions, but had at least increased on his touchdowns. There were flashes of Quincy Carter with his arm in some moments of his 2021 and 2022 season. Obviously, even though he did play some limited snaps, they were hopefully planning on the 2003 season where he could really shine, as the Cowboys really thought he was the successor to Troy Aikman. Quincy Carter just obviously had some not only arm ability, but he also did have some run ability in the pocket and just had so flashes of his mobility and his clutchness that he had in Georgia. Here's a clip here against Washington where he ran in the end zone. And this was in 2003. As you can see, Jason Witten was a rookie this year. Quincy Carter just ultimately had a lot of potential on the table and had a lot of flashes of it, showing that he could be the leader that the Cowboys needed. But one of his biggest issues were interceptions. Quincy Carter may have had some of his mobility, but when you needed it to count down, he just threw so many interceptions. Even in his best season, with 3,302 yards and even as high as 17 touchdowns and had a 10-6 record, he threw 21 interceptions. He just had a tendency of throwing the football into the other opponent. That's what my dad said when he was watching him around the time. That the one thing that was the issue with Quincy Carter is that when he saw the pocket collapse, he would just throw it, and it didn't matter if it was at the receiver's hands or the defensive back's hand. This obviously not only frustrated Cowboy fans, but it also disappointed Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells was definitely very infuriated by the throws that Quincy Carter was making, and you could just tell that he was very disappointed by the performance. And ultimately, this would be Quincy Carter's last game against the New Orleans Saints, where they would eventually move on. And ultimately, this would be Quincy Carter's last game against the New Orleans Saints, where they would eventually move on. He did have a brief stint with the New York Jets, but that ultimately didn't really last long, as that he had very, very much a big off the field issues with his drug addiction, which ultimately ended his career. It's tragic of how much Quincy Carter's career was affected by drugs, and that it's just very a what if